Welcome to Filling You In, a dental podcast with A Squared, where dentist entrepreneurs and spouses, Dr. Anushka Gaglani and Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj, welcome industry experts and innovators to explore trends in business practices, patient care, career development, and what it takes to be successful in dentistry.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Filling You In. I'm Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj.
And I'm Dr. Anushka Gaglani, collectively known as A Squared. To be a successful entrepreneur, you need to be all in, but that creates the risk of letting your business become your identity. Lifetime entrepreneur Steven Neuner, who has built, scaled, and exited multi-million-dollar companies, is here to tell us how to prevent that from happening and share other insights about how to be successful in business without sacrificing your life priorities.
Steven helps entrepreneurs achieve new levels of freedom and growth as a strategic coach and mentor. And through his work with Superpowers, a company which matches entrepreneurs with growth-minded executive assistants. He's also a business partner with his wife, Corey, at Barnhill Vineyards, a boutique vineyard and live music venue in Anna, Texas. Thank you so much for joining us today, Steven.
Hey guys, so good to be with y'all. You guys know how much I love you, so it's just awesome. I love that you guys are doing this, grateful to be a part of it. And just want to acknowledge you from the beginning because my sense of you guys since the first time I met you in Strategic Coach is just that you guys have the heart and thirst to really learn, but not just to learn to make money, but to actually do something purposeful. And so I love everything you guys are doing and just grateful to contribute in any way I can.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And we can't tell you how much we've actually learned from you being in the room with you as our coach. And you've really challenged our mindset and exponentially grown our mindset in the last 3 years being coached by you. So thank you so much for that. We're super grateful.
I learned from you as well. Thank you.
So we'd like to dive in, Steven, and start by just learning a little bit more about your background so that our audience can know how awesome you are and what led you to a career as an entrepreneur.
All right. I would say that the show's not long enough. I would say what I've discovered is I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I was just unconscious to it and became conscious to it through Strategic Coach. The funny story, hopefully I won't insult you guys and all your listeners, but a funny story for this show is I almost became a dentist. I had an undergrad, I have a degree in entrepreneurship. I went back to school to become a dentist. And had 4.0 pre-dental, getting ready for all the exams, everything else. And I was pretty far along into it. I mean, it was time to apply for school. And I started volunteering at a dental office. And I volunteered with Dr. Smith, great guy, awesome entrepreneur and dentist, and spent time with him. And I kept catching myself daydreaming about how do I get to 3 or 4 practices so I didn't have to practice dentistry anymore. And so I went home, and when I kept catching myself, I went home, I told my wife, I said, hey, who was supporting me as a school teacher at the time, we were so broke. I was like, honey, I don't know that going into debt for me to become a dentist so that I could not practice dentistry is a good business move or financial move. And so that's how I really got into my first business. What kind of business can you start with a couple $1,000? 800 to be exact. I bought a list of a couple thousand businesses in Dallas. I started cold calling, begging for meetings, and going door to door selling insurance, which was the worst existence on the face of the earth. But it led to some really good places.
That's so cool. I remember when you first told us that you were going to be a dentist, I was like, oh, wow, like this makes sense now. Why we connect on that level. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, you guys are much better. I assure you, I cannot change a light bulb without breaking it. So nobody would want my hands in their mouth. The really good thing about it though, was it was a time in my life that I didn't have confidence and, really, I was not a great student. I had 4.0, but I worked about probably 10 times harder than my friends that went on to dental school and medical school. But it was really, really a great confidence boost for me at that time because I realized I could do really hard things where I wasn't naturally inclined with just a lot of hard work. And so that gave me confidence to go punish myself some more, begging people to buy insurance.
So cool. The hustle is real.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's a trap too. So we've got to watch out for it. But yeah, it at least got me going.
So how did you build that? How did you build and scale that first business?
Yeah, I would say one brick at a time. I literally did everything the hard way. First off, I had faulty mindsets. I thought that I saw myself as an insurance salesperson and who served entrepreneurs. So I exclusively worked with entrepreneurs. And when I joined Strategic Coach, one of the early blessings of Coach for me was really this idea that I'm not an insurance salesperson, but an entrepreneur who specializes in insurance. And that identity shift has unlocked more gold than, I mean, unbelievable, right? And so that was it. It was brick by brick. I did everything the wrong way. I was a slow learner. I've been a coach, strategic coach, 20 years. You guys just flew through and learned all the concepts so fast. I'm so proud of y'all. But for me, I was a slow learner, and I hit every obstacle on the way, but slowly but surely we got there, and we got better at creating value, and we got better at building championship teams and getting better at who, not how, and a lot of the things that we learned in coach. And it continued to unlock our growth, and we grew and grew and grew, and to the point where we actually took on private equity. And we started, first we funded our first few acquisitions on our own. So we started buying our competitors and helping them solve the problems we had already solved for ourselves. And so then we started going, instead of brick by brick, we started going one wall at a time. So that really accelerated our growth. And the rest is history, as you'd say.
I have so many questions that come into my mind just with that. But
Yeah.
I'm curious, Stephen, can you speak to what were some specific lessons you learned along the way about letting go? You said something about building championship teams, building the right team, not letting your business becoming your identity. What are
Yes.
some big lessons you learned along the way?
I mean, the early ones were simple, like they were just transformational. It's like, this idea and coach of a unique ability, or as we often talk about, your superpower. Find your superpower and delegate everything else. So that was like a big part. Like I was the business. I had no business. I really owned a job. I did everything. And so then I, got that insight. I'm like, oh, wow, this is really great. So I hired really nice people, but they weren't super capable. And I became a micromanager, and I managed them with systems and everything else. And then I eventually got to the point where we're growing, growing, growing. I mean, it worked to a level, but it was sort of faux freedom. It wasn't real freedom. And eventually got to the point where it was so bad, I actually fired one of our top producers who was he was very capable, but he was a culture cancer. And he gave me a letter, a spreadsheet of 53 reasons why I sucked as a boss. And so anyway, I learned so much from that. That actually became transformational in our culture. I became a much better leader because of the feedback. And he was still fired. But I did learn, and that book actually became Happy Mondays and a Winning Championship Culture. And so that really moved me from this idea of find your superpower and delegate everything else to other people have superpowers too. And when you can align yourselves with them, your delegation is not down, it is up. And that was a huge unlock, because now I no longer needed to micromanage. I had real freedom. Instead of pulling people along, I had people pushing me. We really, really took off at another level and another pace.
That's so important. I think delegating, in my experience at least, business owners have the hardest time doing that part. So thanks for speaking to that. And we just started your book, by the way. We're very, very excited to continue reading it.
Well, thanks for reading
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I appreciate it. It is
Yeah, of course.
many, many stories. Hopefully you'll learn from all the lessons in there, so you don't have to do all the things or undo all the things I've had to undo.
Totally.
No, definitely. So when it comes to that insurance business, what was the story behind you? You mentioned PE. How did you successfully exit that business?
Yeah, so we grew. We solved a lot of problems and really got really great at creating value and for our clients, and then also to solve a lot of the problems for ourselves, building championship teams. How do we really get those really great people? How do we make that shift? What does that look like in the business? How do we create collaborative partners so that instead of one by one, hand-to-hand combat combat when I was going door to door. How do we build relationships where you had a source of constant referrals and constant flow of business? And as we got better and better at unlocking those keys to the growth, more and more, I would talk to our friends in the industry, and they were struggling with the same things, and they wanted to be a part of it. And so those became our first couple of acquisitions, and then we continued to grow, and we eventually were approached from a friend of ours that was selling, who told us after the fact, or he would have joined us, but he came to us and said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing." We had collaborated on a few things, and I met with them, and I told them no. There was a whole, I was not interested.
Wow.
I finally had a lot of fun in the business, a lot of freedom, and things were going really, really well. But there's, a whole nother podcast episode on what happened, but I basically felt more and more led towards it. There were just more and more signals and signs that everything that I wanted to accomplish was right in front of me. But I was really afraid because I'd had a prior really bad partnership. And I was dragging that baggage into the new one, and I was seeing it through those lenses. And as I began to realize that not all partnerships were bad, that I just hadn't learned the lessons, and I needed to learn the lessons and apply, I re-examined the opportunity with new lenses.
That's amazing. Steven, in hindsight, I had to ask you this. Would you go with private equity again?
It totally depends on the situation. So in this situation, I would, and it was wonderful. I know I have a lot of friends that have had varying experiences with private equity, many of them bad. I invest in private equity deals and everything else. And I think it's really, really important to understand, if you're going to do it, that there are some key things that I think that need to be considered. And if you aren't deceiving yourself and you know yourself and they line up, it doesn't mean, there's some that are really, really amazing. And so to say all private equity is bad, I think is a really short-sighted view, which is one I had for a while. In fact, I ran around and I would say the quote, "The only ship that doesn't sail is a partnership." And I was literally, and it's funny because I've had more success, made more money, had more impact, more freedom, more growth, all in partnership with people. But I had one bad one, and boy, was I wounded and jaded and screwing up a lot of stuff.
That's a great point. They talk about that a lot in Coach, right? Is collaboration and how beneficial it can be if you collaborate with the right people.
Yeah. And, like a lot of times people just don't know. And sometimes, let's be honest, private equity, they can, tell you one thing and then become another. But I think a lot of people, having been on that side of the table, because I stayed for a little while and I used private equity and we started acquiring a lot of our competitors and bringing them on. I would say that I believe that we were unique and different in how we approached it. And so that all being true, I also think that there were some times where people saw dollar signs and they could sell themselves, even though maybe they knew it wasn't the right fit. And again, doesn't make us bad or private equity bad just because it's not a right fit. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so I think a lot of times people get lured in by the money. They jump off that bridge, they buy it, and then they have regret afterwards. But the truth is they knew all along, and really it's easier to blame the private equity than to take responsibility for myself that I maybe didn't do my due diligence. I joined in, I didn't structure it right. I didn't, right? It's taking ownership is a really hard thing for many of us.
100%. Thank you for speaking to that. Steven, you encourage entrepreneurs to rethink success and purpose, and you even make the case that traditional find your purpose advice might be holding people back. Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, happy to. In fact, like you guys talked about reading a book, I'm actually in collaboration right now with a guy named Todd Pinkston who leads Way Forward Adventures. He's the founder of it. It's a nonprofit that takes people into the wilderness, strips them of their watches, their technology, takes them out in the wilderness, and helps them really, really have like a very, very unique, purposeful experience. And so we're collaborating on a book on this subject right now. And so what I would say is to the entrepreneurs out there, I think purpose is the greatest unlock. I think the number one trap people fall into, and this is as a recovering insurance agent, is like, I'm just a dentist. I'm just an insurance agent. I'm just a right? But it's not what we do, it's how we do it. Like, and so the reason why we became so valuable is our business insurance is super commoditized, but we really knew how to create value for our clients. We knew how to listen. We knew how to solve their problems. The insurance became a deliverable in what we actually did. And so I think a lot of times we think Maslow tells us that it's the top of the pyramid. So we got to get money first. We got to get relationship. We got all these things first, and then maybe we can get purpose. I think that is completely flipped upside down. And most of the value creation in most of our businesses, our personal and professional lives, is by really, really being intentional around purpose. And so I think purpose should go first. And I'm living proof of it. From our music venue to what we do with Superpowers, it is 100% purpose that makes us more valuable than our peers. And so anyway, I can stop there for a second. Then, I certainly have a number of mindset traps I could tell you about that I see people fall in with on this subject of purpose.
Yeah, no, that's such a great point. Honestly, with purpose, it's the value we bring, right? And you can't bring value if you don't feel good about what you're bringing to the table. So
Correct.
we talk about that all the time. It's that the money comes when you bring value.
Yep.
Which
And
comes from purpose.
yeah, and they can both exist at the same time, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What you were saying that you had some mindset traps around that. We'd love to hear more about
Yes.
that.
Yeah, well, and there'll be a bunch in the book, but I would just say that there's the ones that I see most often, and I've seen them myself. So this is all from like I said, I'm a slow learner, but I take note and I learn, and I love to share to help other people so they can avoid it. But the first one I see, and this could be applied to anyone listening, think about your teams too, because these are culture killers. One is the Eeyore mindset. The Eeyore mindset. You guys remember Eeyore, Winnie the Pooh, right? I can't get ahead, poor me, right? And the Eeyore mindset thinks that they don't matter, right? And so I think that is an extremely dangerous trap that people find when they think about purpose. So they just think that they don't matter. I'm just, I mentioned earlier. And I think it's just, it unlocks, and it is a cancer culture because it'll steal confidence from your teams. It'll de-energize, devalue. And it seems selfless, but it's actually mass. It's really selfishness because it's all about me, right? The second one, I don't matter. The second one I see is, and I fall into this one probably more than any other, is the burning bush mindset. And it's that, I'm going to get like some sort of clear vision from God or some sort of magical, experience that's going to like, the whole world's going to become clean or clear to me. And I just need to look and find that thing, and then I'm going to do it. And the problem with the burning bush, I think it's really, really good and can be inspiring to people. But what I think the trap is I'm constantly looking for this really big thing, when quite honestly, most of our purpose is found. Anyone I've found that's lived a very purposeful life, they found it in smoldering fires that they investigated that became the burning bush. It was just low smoke. But if I'm only looking for the big thing, then I can't find that big burning bush really covered up in that smoldering fire. The next one I see is the onion mindset. And that's one, I know we're both EO, people. We love Entrepreneurs Organization. But it's this idea is that I got to work on myself. I got to work on myself. If I work on myself and I improve myself, then purpose will become more clear. It'll be easier. It's just like I've got to get better. And I love self. I mean, I love growth, and I love people that take responsibility for their lives and want to grow. I find though that there is no end to the amount of work I can do on myself. Okay. I'm not at all the person. If you guys met me 20 years ago, you would have hated me, right? And
yes.
Yeah, I'm not that person anymore. But the truth of the matter is, like, there's always something else, right? And so you can just go inward. And again, it becomes very selfish. And I miss people all around me that I can impact every day and serve if I just take my eyes off. And ironically, a lot of times when I take my eyes off myself and I start looking at how I can serve other people, that's where I get more clear about myself anyway. So it's sort of a trap. And the last one, just because we're with an entrepreneurial audience here, for me, is this idea of legacy. I see a lot of entrepreneurs and if any kind of, private equity, professional, Dennis would be one too. It's like this, we can get trapped in this idea of legacy. And I just think that legacy is one of those things that you have no control over, right? I have no control over how you guys perceive or will think about me in the future. I have zero control over it. All I have is purpose for today. How am I showing up with you guys am I delivering value? Am I loving on y'all? And then legacy will be determined. So it's this weird kind of people pleasing type thing that people are always worried about influencing. And I've never seen anyone make the world a better place by pleasing everybody around them, right? Most of the people that have transformed the world have been hated, persecuted. I mean, so if you really want to have a legacy, you really probably can't worry about, you have to love people enough to maybe even say the things that they don't want to hear.
Right. No, those are such good points. There's a lot of gold there, and I think we're going to make sure to snip those parts and actually use them over and over. I think even with legacy, to your point, we've started asking ourselves, like, look, when you're gone, your grandkids might know you, but that's probably it, right? Nobody else is going to know you or care, think about you. Instead, we've started to shift our mindset towards what's a life well lived, right? Like that's a better question to answer. And what are some things that I need to bring into the present? So thank you for speaking to that.
Yeah. Book coming soon.
Yes. So Steven, you're a husband and you have 3 children, and I know your family is so incredibly important to you. What's your advice about balancing family, faith, and business?
Yeah. I would say one, set priorities, right? So, know what's important to you, like the top 5 things, right? So for me, it's my faith, my marriage, my children, extended family, business, and friendships kind of all kind of go hand in hand, in there. And when I say set priorities, like know the priorities, right? I don't set them up to compete with each other. I always am the person that wants to have it all and have it work. How can I, have the business thing work and still have the time for my kids or whatever? But if they come in a direct conflict, I'm very, very careful before I sacrifice the higher order of priority. Maybe once or twice here or there, but I'm very, very attuned to, I think people that can numb themselves and they can start to sacrifice, oh, it's working late one night. Now it's 2 nights, 3 nights. Next, it's 3 years or 16 years and your kids, taking off to college and, you've got a Cat Stevens, Cats in the Cradle song, showing my age here, but you've got all this regret. So I would say first, set your priorities, know them, and then don't set them up to compete against each other. And I'm really, really big on reflecting on them often and surrounding myself, letting other people know what my priorities are and giving them permission to hold me accountable or speak truth to me when they think I'm maybe diverting from them. Most people, I think the celebrities, we always wonder how they crash so hard. It's because they get a bunch of people around them that all tell them they're amazing, right? And so they got to fall so far before people say, you're an idiot. Me, I hope that I can give people enough permission, people like you guys say, Neuner, what are you doing? This is not you at all. Like, you're being an idiot. You're being deceived, right? Like, I want that in my life.
That's such a good point. You don't want a bunch of yes people around you. It's important to have people that challenge you.
And I think the more you have success, the more dangerous that becomes.
Absolutely.
Like success of the world. I'm sorry. Business success and stuff like that, that make people get in their minds and they start thinking something about you that maybe isn't even true.
That's such a good point.
That's a whole trap in itself. You're right.
So, Steven, we're going to do a quick lightning round.
All right. Lightning.
All right. Number 1, what was your last impulse buy?
1978 Ford Bronco.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's 1,000 more, but it's the one that's like, why? What am I doing? But it's a great exercise in who and how. I told you all, I can't change a light bulb without breaking it. I have a vision I've always wanted one. I have a vision for how I want to restore it. And I'm trying to surround myself with great who's to get the project done. So, I'm buying this stuff myself, which is fun. And working with really great who's and watching the vision come to life. It's a master class in delegation for myself.
That is amazing.
Excited to see it. That sounds great. What are the least likely 3 words someone would use to describe you?
I can flip this back on y'all. You know me well enough. I would say, and let's see if they were lined up with you, apathetic, transactional, and passive. I think I'm show up with intention. I don't think, it's not about the transaction for me. I like transformational relationships and, I try to be purposeful. I'm not passive.
Yeah, we can definitely vouch for that. All 3 of those. Completely
Good.
agree.
You and ChatGPT agree.
Without a doubt, if anybody who knows you would agree to that.
Yeah,
Thank
definitely.
you. Compliment.
Last one. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Terrible singer. Love to sing though. And out here at Barnhill at the music venue, we love getting people up on stage to sing, right? So it's like we bring in these great artists that sing other people's music. So I literally tonight, we'll have a country band, right, singing the greatest country songs from the 90s, and they'll sing it brilliantly. But for me, since I'm such a bad singer, I would go with it's from College. You Never Even Called Me by My Name. It's David Allan Coe. It goes, you don't have to call me darling, darling. You never even called me by my name. Y'all know that song?
Don't know it, but
Well,
you know
because
what?
you guys were
We need to
studying in
check it
college
out.
and not partying. That's why you guys are doing so good and so smart. Look it up, David Allan Coe. It's about as honky tonk as you can get, but in college it made the rounds.
That sounds fun. At some point, we're gonna have to make it out to Barnhill. It sounds like a great time.
Yes.
Can't wait to host you. Tickets are on me.
Awesome.
Thank you.
We're there. Well, thank you so much for being with us today, Steven. This was just a wealth of knowledge.
Thanks for having me. I love you guys. I'm proud of y'all, and keep doing the good work.
Appreciate that. I'm Dr. Anushka Gaglani.
I'm Dr. Abhishek Nagaraj. Thanks for checking out today's show, and we hope you can join us again next time.
Thanks for watching this episode of Filling You In, where we uncover the insights, trends, and stories shaping the dental industry. If you like this podcast, please share it on your social channels and visit Aereo Dental Group on LinkedIn or on Instagram at Aereo Dental Group. You can also subscribe to the series and check out all of our episodes on this YouTube channel or at aerodental.com/podcast. Until next time, stay curious, stay inspired, and let's keep elevating the dental field together.